What up, everybody? Welcome to a live edition of Dodgers Territory. We are your hosts. That is Clint Pasillas. I am Alanna Rizzo. Thank you so much for being with us on this holiday week. Please, if you're here, you like us, we appreciate that. So please rate us 5 stars, like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Santa Claus, Kris Kringle, whoever it is that is bringing you the presents. We appreciate that. YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast, we're happy that you're here. Clint, we knew it was going to happen, but we weren't prepared. Let's get to the big ticket.
Yeah, let's do it.
And what I mean by that is all reports are pointing to Walker Buehler no longer being in Dodger Blue. Walker effing Buehler apparently is headed to the East Coast to come hang out with me in Boston. Jeff Passan has reported this earlier today at 7:30 this morning East Coast time. Right-hander Walker Buehler and the Boston Red Sox are in agreement on a one-year $21.05 million deal. Sources telling ESPN one of the Dodgers World Series heroes and a two-time All-Star will join a rebuilt Red Sox rotation, a high upside play for both. Russ Dorsey was the first one to report Buehler was going to the Red Sox. And you and I discussed this, Clint. We didn't think that he was going back to the Dodgers. They didn't offer him a qualifying offer. I had thought that he wanted a multi-year deal. Still didn't get that with the Red Sox, but this is a bet on me deal for a year. And then he can enter free agency again and make even more money. It still sucks, though, when one of your homegrown guys that has meant so much to the organization, that has cemented himself in postseason lore, goes someplace else.
Yeah, I mean, you could take the positive, you could take the negative angles on this. The negative is it's sad. It really sucks to see Walker effing Buehler leave the Dodgers, even though, like you said, we knew it was coming. We knew it was happening. Things would have really needed to line up a certain way for Walker to return. But he takes his talents to the East Coast. He goes to Boston. I'm assuming he's going to move in with you guys for a little while over there, close enough to Fenway. But good deal on him. 1-year prove-it deal. We've seen him have success there on the East Coast, pitching in colder weather. I'll just keep saying, I'm going to say it again. It's sad. It hurts. At least, the positive side, his final image, what could be his final image in a Dodger uniform, is a hell of an image with this. And of course, you guys see the thumbnail. It's Walker Buehler holding a World Series trophy, getting his parade in LA. He had himself one hell of a send off. Stayed up all night partying, drinking, celebrating that World Series win and all that. But still, it's tough. It's definitely a tough blow, but it's also, you could speak to the strength of where the Dodgers are at. And we talked about this a little bit last week. They do have some starting pitching. The hope is maybe Roki Sasaki still in play and all of that. So you can survive without Walker, as much as it sucks to see one of the boys go.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that they absolutely needed to sign him back, just more of a sentimental and nostalgic signing, I think. Obviously, he's an incredibly good pitcher, and I think he's going to go really, really far with the Red Sox. I think that they have a really good starting rotation now with Garrett Crochet over there. Obviously, they just signed Sandoval from the Angels, who's not going to be ready right at the beginning of the season. But the point is that they're putting together some good pieces in Boston, and Walker Buehler is a huge part of what they're doing there. There's just been certain guys over the course of my time covering this team that have hurt a little bit more when they leave. Corey Seager not coming back was a bummer. That one bothered me. And I get it. Like, I'm not mad at the Dodgers. I'm not bad at Corey. It's just like you see these kids come up when they're, 19, 20 years old, and you see them grow through life and all of the life things that they do too. And it's just weird not having them. JT bothered me a lot, obviously. Like if Clayton were to pitch in another uniform, that would be really weird too. I think Clayton retires as a Dodger. But Walker, I was his first interview, and he cussed the first time with me. And there's something to be said how special that was when Walker dropped his first F-bomb with me.
Sorry, kids. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things I wanted to ask you as well. And I don't know if we actually said it on the top. I wasn't paying attention to the show, but our friend Scott Geirman of Dodger Blue will be joining us shortly. We're going to talk more Walker Buehler. We're going to talk about the Dodgers payroll situation, because we do have to wonder, with Walker leaving, with Teoscar Hernandez still a free agent, are the Dodgers kind of drawing their own little line in the sand about how much they're willing to spend? But Alanna, I wanted to ask you, like, you saw this kid come up with the team. You were there for the first, 4 years of his career. Do you have your favorite a different, I guess, a favorite Walker Buehler moment besides him having to say, "Sorry, mom, sorry, kids," you know, world effing
The one thing I
champs.
can appreciate about Walker Buehler is that he was just an absolute beast on the mound. There was nobody that was more competitive and wanted it more, other than maybe Clayton. But they went about their business very differently. Clayton was not throwing down f bombs on. He wasn't like Rich Hill and Sharapova, like grunting, and Zach Greinke grunting and cussing and all that. But Walker was just a dog, right? He's just a beast, and I'll miss that about him. I'll miss that competitive fire. I'll miss the confidence, not arrogance, because he always could back it up, right? It's one thing to be arrogant if you don't have the stuff, but Walker has the stuff, and to be able to say, "Hey, if things get squirrely, I'll come in and I'll shut this shit down," and he did just that. And he shut it down. And I'll never, ever forget, as iconic as Gibby rounding the bases going like this, Walker Buehler doing this is just as iconic to me as far as Dodger postseason lore is concerned. It's like, you forgot about me, huh? I don't think you can. And that's what I'll miss. I'll miss that when he takes the ball every fifth day. And, it sucks. It hurts a little more that he's going to the Sox just because of 2018. But you want him to succeed, right? You want Corey to succeed. You want Belly to succeed. You want JT to succeed, and Kike and all those guys, CP, all the guys that made those
Jock
years
succeed.
So special. Oh God, Jock just falls into money. God bless him.
All you got to do is just fall out of bed and hit right-handed pitching. You can get a butt ton of money in this league.
2 years, $37 million for young Jock, $650. God bless him.
Joining
as a DH.
Joining Seager.
Joining Seager in Texas. I like Texas. I think Texas is going to be really good. And they got Nate Eovaldi back, who I wanted as a Dodger, but whatever. So we'll ask Scott Geirman what he thinks of Geirman about Geirman.
By the way, here is that final Walker Buehler moment. Hell of a send-off. But you talk about so many moments, like moments in very recent Dodgers history, and Walker Buehler being that guy that has the ball. Like, he just has that it factor. He has that dog. If there's somebody who has that dog in him, it is Walker effing Buehler. And like you said, we're really hoping, wishing, got our fingers crossed for success for the dude up there in Boston. Doesn't mean his Dodger career is closed forever.
No.
But for now,
no, not at all.
The Dodgers
for now it is.
They've signaled they have enough to work with without spending another $21 or $23 million on a starting pitcher.
I mean, it's essentially the qualifying offer that was given to Teoscar and wasn't given to Walker. I mean, they just didn't think that they were needed to pay him $21.5 million, and that's essentially what he got from the Red Sox, who needed a starting pitcher. I mean, this makes a lot of sense for the Red Sox, a lot of sense. And I hope that Walker has a ton of success with them, just not against us. I don't think we play the Red Sox this year, but I mean, if we do, I don't think the NL West plays the AL East, but whatever. It is what it is. Scott Geirman is a tremendous friend of the show. Is he coming, Clint?
He is here. We see the man right there, Scotty Geirman, of course, Gritty Scotty here on the internet. He is a senior writer over at DodgerBlue.com, and he also is, like all of us, here for a little bit of Walker Buehler therapy session together. How you doing, buddy? And what do you think about this, Walker leaving L.A.?
Happy holidays to both of you, by the way. It's great to see you. Great to be on. Walker Buehler leaving is something that we talked about for, I would say, the better part of the year. And it's something that we, Dodgers fans, us where we sit, kind of could see it coming. The momentum towards Walker Buehler returning all was predicated on, the outlook for him. And we got to see a 10-inning span where he looked like he was at his best, absolute best. So it's good to have that. But it feels like, my buddy texted me, said it feels like a double barrel shotgun right to the chest for what we've seen. And I've just been going back and recollecting on a lot of the good times. Like I was at game 163 in 2018. I remember my buddy running through the parking lot to see the beginning of that game and just all the big moments. I know a couple years ago, I believe it was 2021 in Arizona. I was at the game where I think he won a complete game against the Diamondbacks. So just so many postseason memories, 2018 World Series. My mind's just going everywhere with how much Walker Buehler has meant to the organization, his relationship with Clayton Kershaw, and how gracious Walker Buehler has been with the fans, with the team, and open and honest. I think Alanna understands this a bunch, being in the clubhouse with these players, and how candidly Walker Buehler spoke on his career, his struggles, his lowest of the lows, thinking he was going to be DFA'd from the team if he even had a spot to throwing the last pitch of the World Series. It's just thinking about 21 and what he's done for this organization. Can't thank him enough.
Nobody can take what he was able to accomplish over his tenure with the Dodgers away from him. I think it was kind of fitting that it was Doogie that he struck out for the final out of the World Series there against the Yankees. And now he's going to be facing the Yankees a ton as a member of the Boston Red Sox, obviously they're in the AL East. Scott, if you had to guess, do you think this was because of terms in terms of multi-year deal versus not a multi-year deal with LA? Is it money? They didn't offer him the qualifying offer. Is it they just have too many right-handers in the rotate? What is the disconnect in terms of why not bring him back at least for one more year?
It's a really good, good question you bring up. I think with the Dodgers not offering him the qualifying offer is something they've done multiple times with Clayton Kershaw. Allow him, with Walker Buehler specifically, to see what market is out there for yourself. Perhaps the Dodgers wanted to bring him back on a lower AAV, but with the Boston Red Sox, I mean, if Walker Buehler's career earnings, this is a huge payday for him. It's an opportunity for him to go on the East Coast. He said he liked pitching in the cold, that it helped out his stuff. He's able to, two things. If he didn't get a multi-year contract, which would have been great for the player, great for the money, probably overall, it allows him to build his market and continue building off of those 10 innings that we saw post two Tommy John surgeries. How good can he be? How good can he be here? And I think, Clint, also, you can speak to this, that Walker Buehler being able to build up his value in this next year in a place that we got to see him at his best. I think if his chapter is done with the Dodgers, then he's going to be able to take this 1 year, hopefully bottle that up, to see those metrics, and go ahead and build on this second chapter that we all understand. It's going to be a very fun next chapter for Walker Buehler with how he can build off of what we got to see in the postseason.
Yeah, and knowing with Walker too, like, I mean, if he was a free agent coming out of 21, he's probably a $200 million pitcher at that offseason, but injuries strike at the wrong time, right when he's about to start making some real money with the team, has to kind of sign those low value ARB deals, through the surgery and all of that. Now, I like what you say there. He's able to finally get that game-changing money, and trust me, I would feel very happy with $8 million to throw a baseball and pitch to an almost 6 ERA through the regular season, but that's neither here nor there. He's earned this. I want to flip it a little bit on the money, because what we're seeing is Dodgers let Walker Buehler go. We still haven't seen a Teoscar Hernandez deal. I'm wondering if they're drawing a little bit of a soft line in the sand when it comes to their payroll, because we just saw the numbers, the figures released last weekend or just over the weekend. A lot of money. $350 million, I think, was the payroll. $103 million tax they had to pay. That is a lot of cheddar. Do you think that's where the Dodgers are kind of at mentally? Maybe trying to ring back the spending a little bit, and that's why we're not seeing Teo. That's why we're not seeing Walker Buehler back in a Dodger uniform.
I honestly don't think the organization cares too much about where the payroll is at. They've built this cash cow that they understand, and the front office has been, and even Dave Roberts, I mean, Brandon Gomes, Andrew Friedman, they've been very upfront that they intend to spend. You could see a little twinkle in Andrew Friedman's eye, and Brandon Gomes as well, that it looks like on the business end, they've got it completely all together. And you look at where the collective, the taxes, the CBT tax is at this past year, next year, and then, 2025, it's up to $241 million. Dodgers are already projected to go above that. They're going to be at, I believe, COTS has them at $281 million. So they're going to pay into the tax again. They're going to pay a surcharge on it. I just do not think they care. They're comfortable drafting where they're at. As far as looking at who they're bringing back, I think the Dodgers have evaluations on players, and they're not willing to stray too far away from those evaluations and the money they give out. I was speaking with Blake Williams, managing editor at Dodger Blue, and he made a lot of good points that the Dodgers, they are one of the smartest, if not smartest organization in all of major sports, that they evaluate these players, they stay where they're at, and it allows them to continue being successful year after year. The biggest one for me is that you look at 2019 after the Nationals won a World Series, and you immediately turn around and hand Steven Strasburg just a massive contract. I know that's an outlier deal. We're not talking about, a couple $100 million for Teoscar, but it's about evaluating how much does Teoscar have in the tank, looking at his red flags that are there, but also understanding that to maintain the current group that they have, to not have any dead money on the books as far as players you have to play, they're only going to go so far, which is why I think that a 2-year deal is where they're sticking with Teoscar. They probably want to add some deferred money, and that's just not where the Teoscar Hernandez camp is at.
Well, the Washington Nationals also did a really good choice of going with Steven Strasburg on that massive deal and letting Anthony Rendon go. And he hasn't.
Yeah.
I think he's played 4 innings since they let him go. As far as the Angels are concerned, there at third base. Let me ask you this though, Scott. I think you know this team better than anybody. Do you think that this opens up more of a window for Roki Sasaki when you're talking about the fact that he's a $12 million player? All teams can be in on him. He doesn't come with a high price tag, but he's a much more controllable piece. A right-hander, of course, for your rotation. It's not a Walker Buehler type. You don't know what he can do yet at the big league level in the United States. But is that more of an option for the Dodgers now than it was, say, before Walker went to the Red Sox?
I'd say so. I would say so. I believe they would have made it work regardless, Alanna. Like if Walker Buehler was back, they would have made it. They've made it pretty clear. The Dodgers front office has made it clear that a 6-man rotation is where they're going to be. It works for a lot of their arms in terms of like Tyler Glasnow, Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and looking around and Roki Sasaki if he slots right in there. And even Walker Buehler might have benefited from some extra rest. You all have to see. Even Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May. They have a lot of guys where you need to temper some innings here and keep them healthy towards the back end of the year. So without Walker Buehler in the equation, Clayton Kershaw, as well, you will need, all of these arms. And I think that with the landing spot that the Dodgers have for Roki Sasaki, it allows him to understand that he's going into a rotation that's comfortable, on a schedule that's comfortable. You've got a lot of arms in the organization who are comfortable coming up. Landon Knack, Ben Kasparius, like they have arms that can come up and supplement this starting rotation. So I think that with Roki Sasaki, it's a better time than ever to be a Los Angeles Dodger if that's where he chooses to go.
Yeah, now the next one, again, the big one, now we have to wait on Teoscar. We think this team needs more help on offense. We definitely agree, Scott, that they need some help in the outfield. Teo has already been there, done that for this team. The clutch is there. He fits in the clubhouse, but he's still not here. And we're seeing our foul colleague Ken Rosenthal put out an article over the weekend about, hey, the Dodgers are probably exploring some alternatives. We've seen some Ha-Seong Kim in there, but more so the Luis Robert is back. It feels like we're at the trade deadline again from a year ago. Seiya Suzuki. What do you think of those guys? Some of the alternatives to Teo that we're seeing out there. Do you think there's a good fit there? Do you think there's some deals, or do you think ultimately the team just needs to be smart? Do what Alanna wants. If it ain't Teo, don't do it. What do you think is kind of in the works right now as we approach Christmas?
Alanna, you say if they don't do Teoscar Hernandez, you go where? Just nothing?
I don't go. I don't go. I just don't even want to go there. I don't even want to think about Teo.
Understood.
Not in a. I'm not saying that right field should be empty and we should only play with 8 defenders, or 7 defenders. But what I am saying is, if his name doesn't start with the T and end in an H, I'm not listening. I just think he's such a good fit.
Yeah.
It's such a good fit. I mean, is it, I mean, as Clint was saying, Scott, Ken Rosenthal was saying the hand up in negotiations is money, not years. If the Dodgers don't care what they spend, I mean, who's worth more to the team? He's not asking for 50 AAV. He's not asking for 30 AAV. What, make this make sense for me, please, kind sir.
Yeah, I got it. I'm 100% with you on that. I was on here. I remember domestic opening day. We were on right before we had the show, or you had the show before that game. I said Teoscar Hernandez was going to be the X factor for the year, and it was he exceeded expectations as far as a glue guy, being an instant favorite with the fan base, performance on the field, clutch situations, all of it. He just feels like the perfect fit. Just like I said earlier, the Dodgers probably have evaluations. They're not willing to go a certain number, and if they can meet in the middle on something, I think it would have already gotten done right now. And that's why we have to start looking towards alternative scenarios, alternative options here. And I was going to bring up Ken Rosenthal. He's done terrific work. You can let him know he's in his bag this offseason with this, this stuff. Absolutely. Luis Robert is definitely a possibility. I think Seiya Suzuki, the Cubs don't have to move him. They don't have to do that. He's a tough bat to replace in that lineup, like Ken pointed out, for sure. I think Luis Robert would make a ton of sense again. Because then it would move Tommy Edman, free him up, go play shortstop. Mookie Betts can move back to second base. which is why we heard the rumblings and the rumors that Gavin Lux was in a deal that would have gone to the Milwaukee Brewers for Devin Williams. So I think that's something to, put a pin in. If anything, if there's any moving parts, that's somewhere where we can go. We can say we saw them try to make that work. But with Teoscar, Alanna, I can't think of another player I want to see back with the Dodgers more than Teoscar. I haven't felt a certain type of way about a player that's coming on a 1-year contract that fans have gravitated to. And I know I see a lot of people talking, down on Teoscar. We're being open about him wanting to return to the Dodgers. And people have to understand that this is some players' best opportunity to make life-changing money. And it's their job as the players and the Players Association to get as much as you can. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's doing right now. So there will be posturing. It's not always the best outcome for fans, but that's just the way it works. That's how it is in professional sports.
Yeah, I know on very good authority, Scott. Hang on, I'm sorry, Clint. I didn't mean to talk over you there, but I know on very good authority, Teoscar wants to come back. It's just a matter of like how far apart could they possibly be on the money? I mean,
a couple million. I think we've seen some stuff. It's about as $5 million, but I think it's about the deferred money. I'll stick with it that it's definitely about the deferred money. He took that in the first one, and he went to the Dodgers on a 1-year, took the deferred money there. They don't want to do it again. But yes, I believe Teoscar Hernandez, but that wasn't a show. He loves the environment. He loves the moment. He wants to be a Los Angeles Dodger. It's just a matter of, can you get, two partners to dance on that deferred money?
And that's where I worry about, like, if there is this, well, I mean, you already said it too. Like, there is a soft line in the sand. The Dodgers are trying to probably not have a payroll exceed a certain number. They obviously have their however they value Teoscar, and right now it's a bit of I'm not going to go to you, or I'm not going to come to you. We're hearing maybe they haven't talked in the last couple of days or something like that. I have a hard time believing that. But Alanna and I, when we were talking on Monday's show or last Thursday show, whatever it was, I'm like, if it comes down to $5 or $10 million and like a year or whatever it is, like I'm going to have a hard time dealing with that. Like the fit.
I'm sorry, I'll start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, somebody said that in the chat. $20
GoFundMe. We can start a GoFundMe and I'll make up the difference.
So let's look at Suzuki versus Luis Robert. Obviously, Scott, you and I talked a lot around the deadline last year about Luis Robert and trying to buy ourselves into him coming to LA. Maybe they find a fix there. Maybe he fits in. Maybe he could actually stay healthy. But still, an imperfect player. Seiya Suzuki, same thing. An imperfect player. But if they go to one of these guys, or even like an injured Ha-Seong Kim, which of, let's say, specifically those three names, what do you think is a better fit if there is the scenario where Teoscar Hernandez does not return?
I would say Luis Robert. I'm pretty locked in on that right now. He's a controllable outfielder. His highs are, a top 15 player in the league. We've seen him when he's at his peak. The caveat with him and the downside is health. Can he stay healthy? He just hasn't done it. Ken Rosenthal, everybody check out his article with this stuff. With he laid it out perfectly. He laid out the big points with Luis Robert, that he's only played over 100 games so many times in the last few years because of injuries. But he's the youngest. He's the most controllable. He's got a couple club options in there that just work out really well. It's team friendly. If he's playing at his peak, it's still a bargain, and that's a terrific way to look at it. He's not going to cost the Dalton rushing. He's not going to cost the number one prospects like Garrett Crochet commanded. That's just not what Luis Robert's looking at for where his market's at. I would love for the Dodgers to go get Luis Robert. We talked about it at the deadline because it would free up Tommy Edman, and then it would free up Mookie Betts to get back to second base, and then that's why you'll see some options there, because Michael Conforto is an everyday guy. I don't believe he's a platoon player, and they should not even think of that. His numbers versus lefties were terrific last year. He was good stuff. And then playing away from Oracle Park, which is just a hitter's nightmare unless you're Barry Bonds, it's a good spot to be for Michael Conforto to be an everyday player. So that frees up Tommy Edman. Go to short. You put Luis Robert in center field, and then after that, we can talk about everything else.
Yeah. Alanna, you got something?
Christian Walker. Well, just Christian Walker getting a really good deal. You've got Jock Peterson, who falls out of bed and gets 2 years, $37 million. And Jock is a DH essentially, right? Obviously crushes right-handed pitching. But I don't know. Obviously there's a reason this is happening. And I trust Andrew Friedman. I trust the Dodgers front office. They obviously know what the heck they're doing. I'm just trying to figure out what it is, what the holdup is. I mean, we're all speculating. None of us actually know what's going on, of course. But for a couple $1 million, I'm bringing him back. You know what you're getting with Teoscar Hernandez, right? You know that he fits the clubhouse. You know that he's great in that lineup. Arguably the first half MVP. I know it was Shohei over the course of the year. I get that 50-50. But if you talk about most productive hitter over the course of the first half of the season, most consistent guy, that was Teo for me.
And bringing in the expectations as well coming in. This is the guy who came here on like a prove-it deal. He proved it. Pay him now.
Yeah. I mean, with Teoscar, you have to think back towards the set in New York during, I think, June. Teoscar was the one that carried that club. It felt like, I know these things matter and it's regular season, but as far as perception, going against two powerhouse teams, Teoscar carried that load. He had a grand slam there. He had a big knock late in the game. Mookie Betts, same thing. You look ahead, that stuff all carries over. Teoscar Hernandez had multiple big hits. That felt like when the Dodgers needed them the most. He stepped up. Against the San Diego Padres, hit the grand slam, almost came back in that game. Against the New York Yankees, it's just the rest is what it is. We know what Teoscar means to the team. Yeah. You can't say enough about him. I would hate for this to be a thing over. If it's an extra year, then I can talk about, then there's a problem. Then I could see the Dodgers just not wanting to go that extra year. They don't want to, trend to the 3-4 year thing. I think it's a 3-year deal that he's looking for. I think a 2 years where the Dodgers are sticking with deferred money and they don't want to go over that. But if it's extra years, then it's unfortunate. But that's I believe the Dodgers are drawing, just like you said, a soft line. I think they have a hard line in the sand at a 2-year contract. And then with some deferred money in there. And that's just what we'll have to live with. Yeah,
I would say in 3 years from now, I don't think he's going to be completely like some old decrepit man. I think he can still get the ball done, get the job done. Ball don't lie. He can handle that. Before we let you go, Scott, you got anything, Teo aside, you got anything on your Dodgers Christmas wish list with, the big day a couple days away?
Oh, as far as Dodgers gear, I mean, I've got a couple
or players, anything. What's on your wish list? Teo aside.
I would love to get some rumor, something, just to carry me over through the next couple days. I need something because it's just that quiet.
Ken's got to get to work.
That's just where it's at until the signing window opens for 2025, and then that's what we'll have to wait to. Alanna, I don't want to get to that point, but my Tommy Edman autograph photo is getting here today. My Teoscar one's getting here today, finally, after months, round of applause, months of nothing. So that'll carry me over here. I've got a couple hats. We'll be locked in. It's a good time. Let's all just take a breath. I hope this gets done with Teoscar. End of the day, I believe the Dodgers are the best fit. They provide the best runway for the rest of his career, best place to win. No better place than LA for Teoscar. I hope it gets done.
No better place than LA for anybody, myself included. Yeah. Scott Geirman, you do such a great job. We appreciate your insight as always. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is that floats your boat. I hope there's some news that breaks for you to get you through.
Take care. Thank you so much. Great to be on. I'll see you soon.
All right, Scott Geirman, we appreciate you. Yep.
Last licks,
Let's
maybe?
do it, my friend.
All right.
Yep, last licks. Let's do it. All right, guys, this is a Hail Mary, and I really need you all to share, please. This is Cash. Cash is a stray dog that is up by the Fresno, California area, specifically Friant, California, but that is near Fresno. A stray dog that is about a year to 2 years old. We have been able to secure him and got the basic vaccinations. He is not microchipped. There's nobody looking for him, but he is absolutely beautiful. He is a collie mix. Right now we have him scheduled for a neuter on January 9th, but more importantly, we need a long-term foster or adopter anywhere in the California area. The person that has him right now cannot keep him past the 28th. We do not want him to go to a shelter. He will not make it out alive. If you could please foster Cash, there is no cash out from your pocket, if you will. Fosters, everything is taken care of for fosters, all the supplies, all the vet visits, all the things. If you're interested in learning more about Cash, please reach out to me on social media or check out Gidry'sGuardian.org. Beautiful, beautiful dog. Gidry, who the foundation was named after, was a border collie. So I'm very, very fond of collies. Incredibly smart, incredibly active dogs. What's coming up on all things with Dodgers and you, Clint Pasillas?
Tonight, I'll be going on a little bit later than usual. Usually on 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'm not 100% sure what time. Probably closer to 8:30. I'm having a little bit of a company holiday party thing, but we'll be talking more about this. Hopefully there's a Teoscar Hernandez deal, but mainly I just want to hang out with the chat, take a bunch of comments. talk about the year that we just had, because it was a pretty damn good year as a Dodger fan. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, they did just go out and win the World Series about a month and a half ago. So tune in, check out my channel, All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas tonight. Subscribe there, subscribe here, and we'll have a good time.
Yeah, Ken Rosenthal and I on Friday's show, we are going to be discussing the top 5 memorable moments of 2024 on our last show of the year well, not the last show of the year, but and a lot of the memorable moments that I'll be talking about, you guessed it, Dodger related as far as the World Series is concerned. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Don't forget to check Clint out tonight. Before we say goodbye, though, we would be remiss if we didn't send our thoughts and prayers and condolences to everybody that knew and loved Rickey Henderson, the man of steel, passing away. I tell you what, too early, certainly. The best leadoff hitter in the game, the most steals ever. The guy's just an unbelievable legend, a Hall of Famer. He was a part of the Dodgers organization for a really small part of his career. But to know Rickey was to love Rickey, and just one of the game's best and brightest and biggest personalities. May he rest in peace, Clint.
Yeah, Rickey was absolutely a GOAT. Rickey loved Rickey. Baseball loved Rickey, and his final 3 stolen bases came in Dodger blue. He had himself 30 games in the Dodger uniform in 2003. I remember that signing. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then we still had some fun with old man at the time, Rickey Henderson. Yeah, that's a tough blow to end the year on for the great game of baseball. But like you said, much love to everybody in his life, the important people that are mourning his loss. And, of course, Oakland fans already had enough to be hurting about, and now losing Rickey Henderson. That's a tough blow.
All you need to know about the Man of Steel, Clint, is the outpouring of love and grief that we saw all over social media, not only from active players, but from former players of so many different generations, so many different walks of life, every skin color, every religious belief. Everybody loved Rickey Henderson, and a huge void is now in our game with the news of his passing. Thank you, everybody, for being with Clint and I today here on Dodgers Territory. Thank you for watching. Like us, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate you very much. Much more on Clint's show tonight. Until next time, go Dodgers.
Okay, bye, and Merry Christmas.